Today, we're talking about one of the most unethical studies ever done and why it might be the key to never doubting yourself again.
Life is beautiful.
All right, so the 1950s were a crazy time, and scientists were doing all sorts of evil shit. And this story really blew my mind of like how much they tortured these poor animals.
Oh, man.
So, but the reason we're sharing this, and I'm not laughing because I feel for the animals. This is my sense of humor. I laugh at stupid weird shit like this. I do have a heart, but we chose to talk about this study I'm about to share because although it is very unethical, it teaches such a valuable lesson about life. So this guy, Kurt Richter, took these wild rats and he threw them into a cylinder of water. Okay. And basically what he did was he just sat there and waited for these rats to drown. He just left them to die. He wanted to see how long they would go before they actually drowned and died. And his plan was not to save them. It was simply to time how long it would take.
It was so fucked up.
So it turns out that these wild rats, on average, would last about 15 minutes before they died. Okay. Then he does something really interesting. He takes a new group of wild rats, throws them back into the same water cylinder. But this time, right before they give up, he takes his hand into the water and picks the rat out of the water, lets it catch its breath, and then puts it back down.
Mm.
Do you know what happened next?
I'm assuming they kept swimming.
How much longer do you think they kept swimming?
For another hour?
Guess again.
2 hours?
Guess again.
I don't know.
You're not even close.
Okay, what is it?
They kept swimming for another 60 hours.
Wow.
2.5 full fucking days of swimming. All because they believed that if they kept swimming, there was a saving grace at the end.
Huh.
They believed it was possible to survive as long as they kept swimming.
Wow. So what's the lesson here?
The lesson here is if you believe there is light at the end of the tunnel, there is no limit to how far you will go. But the moment you believe that there is no hope is the moment that you give up.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It reminds me of the book Man's Search for Meaning.
Yep.
And Viktor
You're so
Frankl.
right about that. I didn't even think of that.
Viktor Frankl talks about this all the time in that book. He says when he was at the Nazi camps, Auschwitz, and he said that as soon as someone determined that they couldn't go anymore, by the next day, they were dead.
Yeah.
And the people that held on to hope that they could make it through were the ones that really survived.
Yep.
But as soon as they believed they weren't going to make it, it wasn't long after that they were gone.
Yeah, so we're about to interview Nir Eyal, which is a best-selling author and just came out with a new book called Beyond Belief. And that's actually where I took this study from. And he describes what's called the motivation triangle. So he says there's a missing piece that a lot of people don't take away from motivation. So he says there's 3 pieces. There's behavior, benefit, and belief. So behavior is knowing what to do. Benefit is knowing why it's worth doing. But the missing piece is belief. Believing your effort will actually matter. So I'll give you an example to bring this to life. Losing weight is the perfect example, right? In terms of motivational triangle. The behavior is you know what to do. You know you need to eat less and move more, right? That's never what's missing. The benefit is always there. You know that you're going to feel better. You know that you're going to look better. You know that you're going to live longer, right? The benefit's always there. But unless you actually believe that it's possible for you to lose weight, unless you believe that unless you believe that you can actually be the one that does this, that loses the weight, you will never find the motivation you need to go and do it.
Yeah, I feel like you'll also self-sabotage yourself if you do start doing it, but still have the belief that you can't do it.
Yeah, and it also goes back to a lot of people will start with that belief, like I can do it, right? And in the beginning, that might be easy to keep. But then when you keep going and you don't see the results right away that you want to see, you stop believing that you can do it.
Yeah.
And then you stop, right? So, and that's why a lot of people stop being motivated in general. Like, this doesn't just apply to health; it applies to business. It applies to anything you want.
Have you had a personal example where the belief has like transformed your life?
I think we together share one with our origin story, basically in business, where we quit our jobs. We were failing absolutely miserably. We had a negative bank account balance, and my belief was hopeless. I was telling you I'm ready to go back and just get a job because we are not meant to be entrepreneurs. But then we got one email from one man who was extremely successful. He was a billionaire, venture capitalist. And he saw one of our videos on social media, and he emailed us and said he believes in us. And when he emailed us that and said that he believed in us, then we started believing in ourselves. And the moment we started believing in ourselves, we started moving and acting differently.
I think you're right, but there is a precursor to that, which is I personally never stopped believing that we can make
you have
it.
a gift.
And I think that, like,
what you're stop.
No, but what you're saying is an outside person believing in you.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what this is really about is our internal beliefs.
100%.
Right. And I really believe that even though we were fucking making no progress, that I believed we were going to make it.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of belief that I have with this podcast.
Yep.
Right. When we were in the beginning struggling, and we still haven't made it out of the sandbox.
Yeah.
But I still believe that this is going to be the best podcast on the planet.
Yeah, I think that brings up a great point, which is that you can choose to believe even without the evidence, even if all the evidence is pointing to there's no way you can do it, right? And another great example of that is us applying to the Amazing Race for 7 years straight, getting no after no after no after no after no, and yet we still believed we could do it.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Eventually we broke through and we did it.
Yeah.
But then once again, that was a story where it was your belief that kept us going because I quit too soon. I was ready to not even apply again. So thank God I have you in my corner. But I think that really wraps up the reason we're making this episode. It's to remind you that you don't need that hand to come into the water and lift you out in order for you to see that it's possible for you. You can believe without evidence that whatever it is that you want to do, you can go and do if you believe.
And it's important to remember, belief overflows to behavior. So first we need to change what we believe. And when we truly change what we believe, we'll gladly change how we behave. That's a quote from this guy named Greg Groeschel, and I love it so much because he nails the entire episode into one quote right there.
Nikki Quotes does it again. All right, let's wrap this up with a call to action. Today, it's really a reflection question. I want you to ask yourself, what do you need to start believing in again? So, for example, I have a friend that's going through a tough job search right now, and I feel like she is starting to believe that finding a job is just not possible for her. And I feel like her motivation as a result has slowed down and her behavior as a result has slowed down. So for her, she would need to believe in herself and her ability to find that job again so that she can get the motivational train back up and running. So for you, maybe it's weight loss. Maybe you're going back and forth with weight loss for a while and you started to think it's not possible for you, or it's a promotion at work, or it's a relationship that's you feel like is too far gone. Whatever it is for you, what do you need to start believing in again? Believe in it.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. We believe in you and we love you. Peace.